Another disappointing opening for a DC Comics movie. Makes sense, sort of, with this character not being really well known and DC's sort of uneven track record, but at least we got a theatrical release. This was originally supposed to go to HBO Max. Let's talk about Blue Beetle. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for Blue Beetle. This is in theaters right now. You can check it out on the big screen, and a brand new superhero to the mix. I mean, he's been in the comic books, I guess, but new to me and new to probably many out there. Jamie Reyes is the human version, and he turns into Blue Beetle in this movie. We figure out how. This is an origin movie, and unclear as of right now where this sort of fits in the grand scheme of things with the DCEU, because they're sort of, James Gunn is now on board, and sort of is going to kind of shutter what the DCEU was, which is the DC Extended Universe, and he's just going to make the DCU. And so, he's made comments that this, is kind of the first movie in the DCU, although it's still part of the DCU. It's very murky, very muddy, and I think that is part of kind of the issue with some of these DC movies. I talked about this when I reviewed The Flash recently, which was a great movie, highly recommended for me, but it's all sort of like, who cares, because it's not fitting into any bigger picture like the Marvel movies. And you know what? Sometimes that can be good, because not having to watch 30 movies to follow one movie can be good. But in any event, before we get any further in that area, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thanks for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and I try to post something new just about every day, at least 5 or 6 videos a week for you. So you can subscribe down below. Would love to have you aboard there, or just like this video, comment below. All that stuff does help the channel out. Okay, so Jamie Reyes is the human component of this character, and then Blue Beetle is the superhero, and he is played here by Xolo Maridueña from Cobra Kai, and I really have not watched Cobra Kai. I know it's a huge show. Everyone loves it. So I was not super familiar with this kid, but he does a pretty good job here as Jamie, and essentially we figure out how he becomes the Blue Beetle. Eventually, it's about 25 minutes into the movie before that happens. First, there's a lot of buildup with him and his family, and learning sort of about what they're all about. And his sister and him go to do this gig as, cleaners. And for this, very, very rich woman, the head of the Cord Company, Kord, and she's played by Susan Sarandon, who is the big bad for this movie. But in their job there, and as they get fired, they meet the granddaughter of Susan Sarandon's character. I forget her first name, something Cord, Jenny Cord, and Bruna Marquezine plays her, and they sort of strike up a friendship, her and Jamie, and one thing leads to another, and he discovers the Blue Beetle, and it sort of takes over his body, giving him like an exoskeleton, and giving him these powers. So that's all we'll say there. George Lopez also plays Jamie's uncle. Always good to see him. And not a huge movie career, I feel like, for George Lopez, right? He did a few like small comedy movies maybe 20 years ago, whatever, when he had a sitcom. But I don't see him really popping up too much in movies these days. But I've always liked George Lopez. His new sitcom is terrible, but that's another story. But all right, so this is an origin story like pretty much every other. There's not really any kind of new kind of angle to this. This was directed by a person I'm unfamiliar with, Angel Manuel Soto, and he hasn't really done a whole lot. He did like a very small independent movie. Then he did this other movie, Charm City Kings or something, which I feel like maybe I watched. I think that was an HBO original, but which is what this was supposed to be. I'm not sure why they sort of reversed that course. I guess because after COVID, they started putting things into theaters, even though they've all sort of underperformed, or wildly underperformed, really, many of them. But in any event, he did not really add anything new or exciting to this mix. All of the basic plot points and all of that are here. And you can sort of, look at every kind of origin story since the big boom of superhero movies. I would say that started with, I guess, Iron Man, but even before that, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it's all sort of the same kind of formula, the same kind of template. Yes, there is a different face on it this time because this is a Hispanic family, Latina family. We do not see that's for sure, in superhero movies. So, that is exciting, in one regard. But, right down to, the way he discovers his powers. And then we get the montage of him trying to figure it out. And, an Oscar winner playing, the big bad to lend some, credibility to this movie and give maybe the more adult people in the theater something to watch. And that, I mean, that goes back to, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeve Superman, or Jack Nicholson as the Joker in Batman. It's like, right down to that sort of thing. And so nothing about this is revolutionary. And look, it's a fine movie. It's maybe a little long. I think they could have gotten to the meat and potatoes of the character, a little bit earlier. But, all the stuff about, okay, his family doesn't understand, and now, he's facing off against this big bad, by himself, but he's also got to save his family and save the world, and X, Y, and Z. And of course, they have to throw a few mentions in there. He, exists in the same world as Superman, so there's a Superman mention. I think maybe there was a Batman mention as well. I think there is. So anyway, look, this is a fine movie. But it's just very, very generic. I wasn't bored watching it. I took my nephew and we had a good time. I think this dude from Cobra Kai, did a really good job. So if this is going to be part of something bigger, and the director had said as well that he envisioned this as a trilogy. So if it is basically part of the DCU that James Gunn is offering, to start either with this or maybe something later, that maybe we can have the Blue Beetle as part of that, or maybe we'll take certain things from this movie and make it part of that, whatever. And you guys may know more than me, because I'm not super up on like what is going on with the details of James Gunn's kind of DC takeover here. I'm looking forward to it. I like James Gunn. But yeah, nothing about this is revolutionary, but it's a fine movie. It's a fine origin story. But pretty average overall. So I will leave Blue Beetle with a C plus, and you can check that out in theaters right now. All right, thanks for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time. Bye.